I know you're special. I know you're very special.
Come back.
I know you're special.
You gotta come back now.
We know you're a special talent. There he is.
That was the best moment in the show history. That was the best moment in show history. But that's going to show what family we are. He's like, I don't care.
He just rolls up. You're looking good, man.
You didn't know.
Can I give you a hug?
Of course you can. Come on, we can do the whole thing.
Thomas Dimitroff is joining us momentarily. We were trying to hold this spot for. Hold on. So are we still? So Garrett Wilson is he going to join us later on? Okay.
Later.
So
we'll
okay, come on, Thomas. Let's go. Let's make some room for you. Live TV. We'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live. You're gonna be right there, Thomas. You stay right over there.
So I'm gonna slide over this way.
Yeah.
And then you guys are gonna slide next to me.
I love this. This is brother from another.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Thomas, you asked me about the show. Like, what's this show that you and Michael Smith do? Yeah, you're getting it. This is it right here. This is the spirit of it. And you can appreciate it. You can appreciate it because it's authentic.
It's authentic.
It's authentic.
But that's what family does.
I know that's important to you. Authenticity.
Jeez, I can't believe I did that.
That was awesome. Here we go.
Come on, Eric.
Let's make some room for Eric.
Thomas jumping the gun over here a little bit.
I saw you there. I'm like, why are you?
He was so excited to
hesitating?
see us.
I was.
He was so excited to see it. That was great. And it was like, and it wasn't off to the side. It was right in the middle.
Right here.
It was right in the
You
middle.
rolled up right on it.
You just want to show off that fancy
I
jacket.
understand that no one's going to come calling me again. You
No.
got to tell all your people.
Live TV.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You
Trust
guys
me.
look good.
Hey, likewise.
The stuff we've done on live television, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. It is good to see you guys.
Oh, my
Two-time formal introduction. Two-time Executive of the Year, former Falcons General Manager Thomas Dimitroff, who is now the CEO at SumerSports, joined by Eric Eager, correct?
Yep.
The VP of Research and Development for SumerSports. You also may be familiar with this work from PFF, or Pro Football Focus, prior to SumerSports. So we'll talk a lot about what you guys are doing, talk about this matchup. But we were in the middle of an Aaron Rodgers conversation.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. It's perfect timing because, listen, if you're Joe Douglas, you got a decision to make. Yep. If you're Brian Gutekunst, you got a decision to make. Two guys who you probably know very well, not just as colleagues, but from your podcast series, The GM Journey, which was excellent. So your thoughts on Rodgers as he makes his decision, how the Packers should be playing this as it relates to whether to turn the page to Jordan Love with all the cap ramifications involved there, or even the Jets for that matter, looking for that quick fix at quarterback.
Look, I think I'm just concerned, like, what Brian has to do and what the Packers have to do is they have to look at not just Aaron as a player, but Aaron as a leader, and that can be argued every which way, right? Is Jordan that leader that you really need, and excuse me, you need it, or that you want? Is he truly that? Because coming out, there were some concerns about how that was all going to play out. So where is that? How does that play out? That's a big thing in my mind. But then you also think about Brian thinking about how many more years are we anchored into this contract. That is a complicated spot for them to be in Green Bay right now, I think. It's not that easy. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the very best quarterbacks that has come through. I really do. And I still think that he can play. But he has to want to play, and that's not what I'm really sure of. And how far is Brian in on that conversation with him to determine whether he truly does want to play or not?
Eric, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when you're a quarterback that makes as much as Aaron Rodgers does, you have to be of that Mahomes tier and elevating the players around you, right? The way that the salary cap works, whether he goes to the Jets or stays in Green Bay, he's got to make the players around him better. And I feel like over the last, couple of seasons, he went from a guy who elevated the play of those around him to somebody who was kind of maybe a bystander in his own football life last year. And I think that, if you're the Packers, do you really want to buy into that another year, or do you want to, start anew and take your lumps next year in an NFC that's not as hard and see if Jordan Love can be that guy? Because that's just the hardest thing with the economics in the NFL. If you pay your quarterback that much, he's got to be worth more than one player.
Okay, that's right. But Thomas, I'm wondering for you, because of that payment, you got a guy like that. And you've had guys like this who make a lot of money. So you're dealing with that player and that player's desires and opinions. You're dealing with an owner who's got opinions. Well, I'm paying this guy this much money. We got to do this. And you're dealing with the rest of the roster that's watching you to see how you handle this situation, to make sure there are no prima donnas, to make sure there's not a double standard. How do you manage all that?
That's a lot to manage. And you have to have a presence, I think, as a team builder to make sure that you're doing the right things ultimately for the team, right? And yes, it is about winning. We know that. But if it's in any way sending a message to people within the locker room that that's how I'm going to be treated when my time is up, given that much time that Aaron Rodgers has put into this team, then it has people back on their heels. So this is complicated, not only from Brian Gutekunst's standpoint, from the coach's standpoint, of course, from Mark Murphy's standpoint. I mean, here's Mark as a president, right, trying to decide what's he saying in all of this. How is he pushing his guys to make the right decision on it? I don't know. It's a complicated situation.
And look, Aaron Rodgers, even though he's got 60 million reasons to play, he may decide not to play after this darkness retreat that we were just talking about.
A darkness retreat. Thomas knows about a lot of stuff. Thomas knows stuff that I don't know. He always teaches me stuff.
You're a pretty cultured individual.
So, have you ever heard of a darkness retreat? That's what Aaron Rodgers says.
Is he going in the middle of it?
Is he just watching the film from last year?
He's going to decide his future after he takes a darkness retreat.
A darkness retreat.
Wow. Is that sans any sort of extracurricular?
See, I was wondering if it was literal. Is it like Alaska? You have 6 months of darkness and 6 months of light. I don't know. Or is it just like
he's lived in Green Bay? It's not that far from.
Oh, you got him all. No, right. I love him. I love him.
He's on.
Great lines.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know literally what it is. I could imagine, given his playing around in that sort of a world, maybe it's something. What was he saying he was trying last time? Peyote?
Oh yeah, that's it. He was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not. Well, I don't even know.
It wasn't peyote. It was something else. It was some
another
other
trip.
mind-altering thing.
Yeah. But what I was going to ask you about is
no judgment though.
No
judgment, right?
Another guy who has called it a career, so we believe he seems to be serious this time. We heard Bill Belichick and Tom Brady give each other their flowers last night on his Let's Go podcast. You obviously was the director of college scouting for the New England Patriots. Tom Brady meant a lot to your career. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of summarize his career, if that's even possible, in one sitting.
In one sitting.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, he was a guy that was such a gauge and a benchmark for me going into my time, not only as a personnel director with Scott Pioli and Bill being there, but then moving on to Atlanta and being able to utilize Tom as such a foundation to grow, like to look at and to build off of in my mind. What we needed to do with Tom, what we needed to do with Matt Ryan after spending that time with Tom Brady. I've said this to you guys, I think both before. I mean, Tom Brady literally was the reason I got my job in Atlanta, right? I mean, literally, a guy winning as he did, one of the main reasons. But in the end, and I love Tom, but I was also fired probably because of Tom when we lost the Super Bowl in 2016 ultimately. So I have great respect for him and what he's done for the league. He's just at so many levels, right? I love it because I think the other thing is that I think it makes people believe that you can find that quarterback that you can continue to grow with and grow for many, many years if possible. And if you can get a guy that's mindful of his money, that's very rare in today's world, right? That's a.
Well, I think that's the thing that they're seeing in Kansas City. That's what Tom Brady sort of. He gives you the art of the possible at quarterback because, Patrick Mahomes' deal, they had the SI article about it, very team-friendly with the rolling guarantees. Obviously, they're taking care of him as a $500 million player, but the rolling guarantees, being able to build a roster when you're post-rookie quarterback deal, like that's just really hard to do, and Tom Brady sort of showed the blueprint for how to do it, and his 7 Super Bowls are what those guys, the Herberts and the Mahomeses and the Burrows and the Allens, that's what they're shooting for, and he's the blueprint, he's the art of the possible for them.
You mentioned team building. We talked privately about this with you, just how you're doing and how you're integrating yourself and how things are coming along. But just tell us and the viewers about what SumerSports is doing and what it's bringing to NFL teams to help them get to that next level when it comes to that team building process.
I guess if I could just start this way, we could bring 32 general managers in here right now, right? And you guys know many of them, and we could ask them point blank, and they would all say, roster building and team building is such a non-exact science or an inexact science, right? There's a lot of guesswork in it. As much as we don't want to tell our owners when they're paying us $4, $5, $6 million a year, there's a lot to it. There's an element to SumerSports, which is a cutting-edge algorithmic-based tool that's going to help teams optimize their roster. We look at it as it's an augmentation tool, though. It's not black box, and I'll toss it over to Eric on the specifics of it. But from a GM perspective, I have always thought there's got to be a better way for us to pick these players and bring it together and make a decision on your roster that's more scientific and more mathematic and more exact. Right, because we too often have just kind of thrown darts, and I don't say that disrespectfully to our trade because we all work really, really hard, but I do believe you take a tool like what SumerSports can offer. It's called Marvel, Maximize Roster Value. And you augment these guys. I think it takes an average GM to a good GM, and a good GM to a very good GM. And quite honestly, a very good GM potentially to a Hall of Famer. I wish that I had it. People often ask me, well, would you have made that move for Julio back in 11?
Yes.
Yes, categorically yes.
There it is. Come on.
Now, Michael, but my other question is, I say, however, would I have changed my approach to that third contract that we gave Julio? Maybe this would have presented something different, that I would sit down with Dan Quinn and Arthur Blank and say, all right, here's what Marvel, here's what Sumer suggests in that mode.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many. Football is such a game of where there's specializations, right? You have scouts who have been honing their. I mean, you were a scout prior to being a GM, and you know, you have that, and we want to, you know, respect that subject matter expertise. There's, you know, the algorithms that'll build college to pro models and that kind of thing, and then there's, you know, the coaching aspect of it where, you know, they play this scheme, and so you're going to have this kind of tight end instead of that kind of tight end, and when you add it all up, it's just really hard to put all those things together with the human mind at once and make something that is optimal. And so what we want to do is respect the subject matter experts. We want to bring in the grades that the teams have. We don't want to tell them necessarily how good a player is. What we want to say is, if you think this player is that good and this player is that good, here's how to build a roster that's optimal based upon, you know, their constraints. And you have constraints that are, you know, not necessarily your own. Like your owner might say, hey, you're signing Darrelle Revis no matter what. So then you have to live within those. And obviously the power of math can help us do that more quickly and maybe more efficiently than we just can do kind of like on our own.
That's cool.
Fascinating
that
stuff.
Sounds cool.
Listen, sounds like you went from being a GM of one team and now you can be the GM of 32 teams, sort of. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's an interesting one. I like that look. That's
you
good.
can help all 32 teams be better. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for making our show better.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Always
much.
good to see you.
Always
Do that
and
anytime
thanks
you
for
want.
and listen.
Hey.
Thanks for the
Thanks for having me
dramatic entrance.
Anytime
too.
you want.
That's like,
Yeah.
but it's so appropriate. It's so
Thomas in a
appropriate. You're
nutshell.
unlike anybody else, so you got to come in a different way.
I love
You
it.
looked up at me and you thought, "Whoa!"
I was like,
It happened.
he's about to walk in front of the
Come
camera.
out the corner of my eye.
It's
Yeah, he's my
Well, one of your associates ran in there to get us, so I thought we were on. You guys had already started.
Yeah.
In my mind. So anyhow, I apologize to all your
no
staff.
apologies necessary.
That's definitely their fault. It ain't yours. You're good. Appreciate you, man. Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Good
Thank
to see
you.
y'all.
Thank you, Eric,
We'll be back
Thomas.
in Phoenix.
Good to meet
Thank
you, man.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.